In some mysterious way, anything that's good for God is somehow good for us too, but we don't always see it. But there are those things we see very clearly. The name Mishpatim, which means laws, statutes, rules, and regulations, they're referring to those commandments that are so logically necessary. I like the expression, if there was no law, someone should create it. There needs to be a law concerning such and such because it's so necessary. Those are the most rational laws or commandments or mitzvahs that God gives us. But let's try to understand that a little bit. We don't want people walking around shooting each other. It's not a good idea. I hate when that happens. How can you live thinking that anytime you walk out the street, you're going to get shot for no reason? So we have laws. We put an end to the Wild West. That's so rational, that's so logical, that's so necessary. But is it moral? It's pragmatic. It's functional. You can't run a society. I cannot do business with you if you're a compulsive liar. I can't. It just won't work. We'll both starve. If I can't trust you, if your word means nothing, then we can't communicate. In other words, life just wouldn't be livable without certain formal agreements on how we're going to treat each other. Great. Is that what morality means? If I make a deal with you, I won't shoot at you if you don't shoot at me. Is that a moral decision? Is that a moral statement? Are we both being moral people? Or is it just practical? Actually, the more practical it is, the less moral it is. I have to eat 3 times a day to stay healthy. So if I eat, am I being moral? Because if I don't eat, I'm being crazy. But if I do eat, it is so necessary biologically that you can't call it morality. It's survival. There are some social rules, norms, that are absolutely necessary for the survival of a society. If only the fastest gun in the West can survive, we don't have a society. So if it's that necessary for practical survival, is it moral? Does it have anything to do with morality? But that brings up the question of, what does moral mean? If I won't shoot you and I won't lie to you and I won't steal from you, am I not being moral? I don't know. Maybe I'm just being rational. I need to do business. I need to trust you in order to do business. So if you don't lie and you don't steal, I can trust you. Where's the morality of it? Why do we call it moral? Before I continue with my monologue, where I do all the talking, I want to invite you to a VIP session, a Zoom session, in which we get together to actually have a conversation and discuss all things Jewish, all things holy, all things healthy. So click on the link below and join us where we can have a two-way conversation. So here I think is an important definition. Moral means I may not take advantage of you when I can take advantage of you. Moral means I will not behave a certain way even when it doesn't benefit me directly. So imagine I could lie to you and get away with it, and we'll still do business. It won't do any harm to the fabric of society if I lie to you or I cheat you. No one will notice. And I won't do it anyway, because it's not right. So moral doesn't mean dysfunctional or avoiding dysfunction. Moral doesn't mean creating a workable system. Moral means even if it doesn't harm the system, there are certain things I don't do because they're wrong. Wrong in and of themselves. See, that sounds more like a mitzvah, a God-given commandment, rather than part of my survival instinct. So mishpatim can be described as God making a mitzvah out of something I would do for pragmatic reasons. God turns it into a form of service, godly service. Moral means if it's wrong, I won't do it even if it costs me nothing. I won't do it even if it benefits me greatly, because it's wrong. Now, it is also practical, so we call it mishpatim. There are those commandments that are not practical at all. If I don't mix meat and milk, who benefits? If I don't carry my key ring on Shabbos, who benefits? Only God. Well, that sounds like a commandment. That sounds like a mitzvah. But there's something special about those things that I would do anyway, without God commanding it, because of its practical benefits, and yet God makes it a mitzvah. What does that mean? Sometimes we have a convergence. What's good for God is also good for us, directly. In some mysterious way, anything that's good for God is somehow good for us too, but we don't always see it. But there are those things we see very clearly. And yet, it serves God's purpose too. So, God tells us, you should honor your mother and father. I know you would anyway, because, you're grateful and you have a decency in you to give back to those who took care of you. But God says, this is meaningful to me too. It serves my purpose as well. And so it is very obvious and logical, but it is also a mitzvah. If you enjoyed this conversation or this topic, and you're looking for more information, or you want to hear it again from another angle, there is a way to do that. And that is in this book. It's all there. Order it from Amazon. You can read it, reread it, and share it.